A very sickly and weak Donald Trump hiding out at Bedminster, one of his golf resorts, on the taxpayer dime yet again. Here, Donald Trump at the resort last night saying that smart people don't like me. This is a speech that he was giving, and then he starts to promote Bedminster and his other golf courses and says that he's got the hottest wedding venues around. Here he says smart people don't like him. Here, play this clip.
Smart people don't like me, you know, and they don't like what we talk about.
Then he says everybody wants to get married at Trump Properties. You got to get married here. We're the hottest company around right now. You're the hottest company around? What the hell is this guy talking about? Here, play this clip.
Convenience for a few months, but we're going to double it up. Everybody wants to get married here, and we hold like 275, and when times are good like they are right now, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. People want 500 or 600 or 700.
Like, do y'all realize how humiliating this is to the United States of America? I mean, we now know that Denmark isn't buying its surface-to-air military defense systems from the United States. Portugal's not buying F-35s from the United States. But guess what, everybody? The Trump company's got hot wedding venues right now. Then Donald Trump talks about how he doesn't want to attend the smaller funeral for Charlie Kirk, the more intimate one where there's not going to be cameras. He wants to attend the big one, he goes. I want to be at the big one. Here, play this clip.
He was a friend of a lot of the people in this room, and he was a really special guy. So I'm going to be going to Charlie's, I guess you'd call it a funeral. There's the small one. I said, can we do the big one? Because we're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal.
And then Donald Trump is there very bewildered. He's like the shooter of Charlie Kirk came from a Christian family. You know, he was trying to say the word white. They were a conservative Christian family, good people. Yeah, they were Trump supporters. They were your supporters. And he goes, but this kid, he was radicalized. He was radicalized. Here, play this clip.
He's become radicalized. So many things have been learned about him so quickly. He's become totally radicalized and crazy, and it must have been traumatic because the parents are conservative people, supposed to be very nice people, living in Utah, and the father turns into son. Boy, that's a tough deal.
The American people in 2024 were so desperate that they elected a convicted felon who tried to overthrow the republic just 4 years earlier. Now, what was so bad? Why were they so desperate that they would do something as foolish as that? Well, it's because the economy is so awful. How bad is the economy? Well, let me read you a little bit of an article here so you get an understanding about how truly terrible the economy is. The U.S. economy closed out 2024 with another month of massive job growth, adding 256,000 positions in December. Wow, that's terrible. But wait, it gets worse. The unemployment rate dipped to 4.1%, wrapping up a year that marked a return to pre-pandemic norms. Quote, the labor market is strong, and in an aggregate sense, it really doesn't get much better than this. There's very robust job growth. We have low unemployment. It ticked down in the latest month. Layoffs are low. People have jobs, and they are spending. And that continues to bolster the economy and the labor market. The U.S. has now added jobs for 48 months in a row, tying the second longest period
to Washington, D.C. after getting booed in New York. A reminder, he left Washington, D.C. as there were protests taking place all across Washington, D.C. because of Donald Trump's military occupation of D.C. Remember, before Donald Trump jetted off to get booed at the U.S. Open, he was asked by a female reporter, so are you saying you're ready to go to war with Chicago? Why use the Department of Defense? And this this female reporter was indeed referencing Donald Trump's post where Trump said, "Chipocalypse. You're going to get ready to see what the Department of War knows what to do." Donald Trump threatened war. I mean, look at the photo that Donald Trump posted, the Chipocalypse, like apocalypse now. Donald Trump, who avoided going to the Vietnam War by claiming that he had bone spurs, is posting Vietnam War memes. I don't think he knows that Apocalypse Now was an anti-Vietnam War movie. Oh, and didn't you say Vietnam was wokey? Didn't you say it was all wokey, and that's why you changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War? Unlawfully, I might add, because you don't have the legal authority to do that. But when Donald Trump was asked by the female reporter a legitimate question, "You're threatening war with Chicago. Why are you going to war? Are you ready to go to war?" Donald Trump looks at the female reporter and says, "Shut up. Be quiet, darling. Shut up." He's literally, you'll watch him say that. "Be quiet, darling." He calls her darling. "You don't listen. Listen to me. You're second rate. We're not going to war." Listen how he treats her. Here, play this clip.
You say that, darling. That's fake news.
Well, why
I
would
don't
the
go to
Department
war.
of Defense?
Listen. Be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Again, a despicable creature, a vile piece of trash this individual is. Who behaves like that? I mean, just think about it. I'm sitting there at the U.S.
Donald Trump's trying to recover any support from his base that he feels like he's constantly losing, and he is losing it. And I can prove it to you with 4 things he shared today on Truth Social. Here's the first one. He issued a disaster declaration for Kentucky for storms in April and May that his administration initially declined. Again, in Michigan, they initially declined this request for federal aid, $50 million. He issued another disaster declaration. And this one for Indiana, he initially declined that one. Oh, and here we are for West Virginia. Again, declined. Donald Trump and his administration declined disaster relief for all 4 of these states. And now, as he's floundering and he's underwater with his base, all of a sudden they can find money to issue disaster declarations. In many cases, months too late. Where are the people who were screaming about Joe Biden and not issuing and doing stuff for the people of North Carolina? Because people in Kentucky have been struggling since April and May due to flooding and storms there, and the Trump administration was nowhere to be found.
The past 24 hours have been a disaster for Donald Trump, and here's why. Here are 3 things that happened just last night and this morning that you might have missed. First of all, a federal judge just blocked Trump's birthright citizenship order, adding to the growing number of federal judges that are standing in Trump's way. These judges are saying loud and clear that Trump overturning birthright citizenship is blatantly unconstitutional and that his executive order holds no legal status whatsoever. Then you have another judge who just blocked Trump from sending a group of Venezuelan migrants to Guantanamo Bay, which is a win for human rights since Trump's own Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, says she believes migrants sent to Guantanamo Bay could be held there forever, which is absolutely insane. Lastly, Trump's big night out at the Super Bowl was a bit more embarrassing than expected, as the team he predicted to win, the Chiefs, got absolutely smoked by the Eagles, and rapper Kendrick Lamar also threw several disses Trump's way for the entire nation to see.
Donald Trump just had a psychotic meltdown during a bizarre press event that he held purportedly with law enforcement outside of the White House, who he said he was going to join to do raids on migrant communities and patrol Washington, D.C. Donald Trump started talking about grass, and he loves grass, and he's the grass man. And he's going to put grass everywhere in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, Donald Trump destroyed the Rose Garden with concrete and turned it into a atrocious Mar-a-Lago looking massacre. Here, play this clip.
One of the things we're going to be redoing is your...
Then Donald Trump kept on talking about Kristi Noem riding horses. Nobody rides a horse like Kristi Noem, the best horse rider that there is, everybody. Here, play this clip.
And where's my Kristi? Are you there?
Then he starts talking about wind and how people don't get fired by wind. You won't get fired by wind, everybody, because wind doesn't work that way. Wind doesn't fire people. what the hell is this guy talking about? When I started by saying this is a psychotic meltdown, here, play this clip.
Back into the grid. So,
And then Donald Trump imagines that he's getting all of these phone calls from people, and he goes, Democrats, everybody, they're calling me, people who live in Washington, D.C., and they're saying, sir, and they're sobbing, sir, thank you so much for putting the National Guard in Washington, D.C., sir. You've saved my life, sir. Here, play this clip. Donald Trump couldn't stand the heat in Washington, D.C., where there were protests quite literally everywhere against the occupation by the military in Washington, D.C. So Trump is now rushing to go apparently watch the U.S. Open tennis match after once again golfing on the taxpayer dime. As I reported this morning, he has ordered the United States Tennis Association to direct all broadcasters not to show people booing him because it is expected that he will be loudly booed. Apparently, the United States Tennis Association has issued that order. Do not show Donald Trump being booed. How utterly pathetic can you get? Now, this follows Donald Trump spending the prior evening rebranding the Rose Garden, the People's Garden that belongs to us, Club Rose Garden, using our taxpayers for an exclusive club for the elites that Donald Trump gets to invite and provide lavish meals and entertainment while the people of the United States suffer from some of the worst job and economic reports in generations. But Donald Trump says, you know what? We're in a golden age, and we're in such a golden age, I'm ordering the United States Tennis Association to ban booing at events that I'm at. Sounds like a real golden age, Donald. He's also sending pathetic emails like this all night and into the morning. Nobody deserves this more than you is the subject. Ben, bravo. I'm giving Rudy Giuliani the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and now I want to honor you. You are in the top 1% of all Trump patriots. That's why I'm officially awarding you the inaugural Trump Patriot Medal. Claim your medal. You have to pay him money, of course, and then you get your fake medal, just like Rudy Giuliani got the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I mean, what idiots fall for this as they're losing their jobs, as they can't afford homes, as they can't afford groceries. But guess what? You're in the top 1% of patriots. You're going to get a fake medal. Woohoo! I mean, come on. Are you that freaking dumb? And then Donald Trump says the following. I'm Donald J. Trump. Please, I'm starting to worry. Ben, this is getting sad. I've asked so many times to complete my official MAGA poll. I'm worried about you. This is your very last chance. Respond to Trump. So what is it? Am I the 1% of the top MAGA patriots? Or are you getting worried about me because I'm ignoring you? Nope, it is all one giant fraud. And while Donald Trump is doing that and posting memes like Chikopolypse, like Apocalypse Now. I don't think Trump realized that was an anti-Vietnam War movie. But as Trump shows imagery of helicopters.
You want to know Donald Trump's defense for trying to money launder a $400 million plane from the Qatar government that he's in business with through the American people and American taxpayer out the back door to Donald Trump after he leaves office as a tax-free gift? You want to know his defense for that and his defense for making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in the meme coin cryptocurrency business while he's president of the United States? You want to know his defense? Well, all you got to do is listen to Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary. Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, said, I'm appalled by the question. Donald Trump left a lap of luxury twice. He's not in this for the money. Yeah, we're going to break it all down right here on Legal AF. Take a minute, hit the subscribe button. You keep this kind of content coming. Carolyn Levitt was asked during a press conference, a presser, on the heels of both of these scandals, which any one scandal would have engulfed a presidency leading to his impeachment. But two, a week apart, we just call that par for the course with Donald Trump, don't we? That's why we got to continue to keep calling it out. Last week's scandal du jour, which Senator Chris Murphy called the largest grift or scandal in presidential history, had to do with Donald Trump turning the White House into Trump Incorporated and trying to turn on and make it a moneymaker, make it a money printer for the Trump family through meme coins. He controls the meme coin. He controls the meme coin market. He controls the fees that are paid for the buy and sell of meme coins that he controls. He doesn't care about the price. He cares about earning the brokerage fee. And the more he pumps and the more he dumps, the more money ends up in his family's business pockets. And so far, it's heading north of $500 million. It will be, sit down for this number, several billion dollars that Trump made while he was supposedly doing the people's business from the people's house and the White House. He's selling access to the White House, as we know, through meme coin. You want to get a friendly audience with Donald Trump? You want to curry favor with them as a foreign entity? You can't make a political donation because we don't allow it, but you can buy his meme coins and you can put money in his pocket that way. Doesn't that violate the emoluments clause of the Constitution, Popak? It does. However, we have to file those lawsuits and have that decided by the federal courts. That was last week's scandal. This week's scandal is the Qatar airplane bullshit. Let me just dispel any myth here. Even if Donald Trump were successful in doing this, and I don't see it happening, this would be a money laundering, tax evading grift of epic proportion that we've never seen.